must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. So once again, I thank everyone for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move on to the next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all are joining the call today?
हरे कृष्ण भगवती वसुधा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रीतिदासी from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sundarangi Radha Devi Dasi from India. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and Gauranga, all glories to all the assembled leaders on the call. This is Harita from Missouri City, Texas. Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Harita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. This is Shyama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Shyama Gauri Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna Venkatanandrika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Is there anyone who would like to introduce in the call today? Hare Krishna. Is there anyone who would like to introduce today? Okay. I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha call. Today we are really fortunate to have His Grace Jagannath Priya Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 8.12.12 onwards. Before I hand over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Sundarangi Radha Mataji for the brief introduction on Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Mataji, over to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna dear devotees. Today we are so fortunate to have His Grace Jagannath Priya Prabhuji on our call today to enlighten on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here is a brief introduction about Prabhuji. His Grace Jagannath Priya Prabhuji is a practicing monk is a speaker on Vedic literature, including the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. He has a distinct focus on the practical application of religion and spirituality on both individual and societal levels. In academic, he obtained a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and holds dual masters in Sanskrit and yoga philosophy. He also has done research scholar at IIT Mumbai. Before embarking on his monastic journey, he served as the director of special effects for films and televisions. For the past 25 years, he has dedicated his life to the holistic development of the spiritual community in Mumbai and Thane. He is a board member of ISKCON Thane and is also associated with Bhakti Center, New York. He assists in several congregations in different parts of the world as well. Hare Krishna. This was the brief introduction about Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. And thank you so much, Vinita Gandhika Mataji, for sharing the introduction. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the brief introduction on Prabhuji. Like Prabhuji is yet to join. If anyone would like to introduce themselves, they can go ahead now.
Mataji, we can chant or someone can sing a bhajan, Mataji, until Prabhuji comes.
Okay, Mataji. Anybody wants to sing a bhajan today?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I can sing Mataji. Akruda
Sure,
Paramananda.
Sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Akrodha Paramananda Nityanandaraya Abhimana Sanyanita Nagare Vedaya Adhama Patita Jivera Dware Dware Giya Harinama Mahamantra Diche Namilaya Jari Dekhe Tare Kahe Dante Tronadhari Amare Kininaha Balagaurahari Ete Bali Nityananda Bhumi Gaudi Jaya Sonara Parvata Jena Dhulate Lotaya Hena Avatare Jara Ratina Janmila Lochan Bale Se Papi Elarage La Akrodha Paramananda Nityanandaraya Abhimana Sanyanitai Nagare Vedaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare
I think
Krishna.
Prabhuji is there, Mataji.
Thank you,
I
Mataji.
think
Hare
this
Krishna.
JP is Prabhuji, I guess.
Okay.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association in this Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are really fortunate to hear from you today on this topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhuji. Today's verses, 8th canto, chapter 12, verse 12.
Just 1 second.
Prabhuji, we
Sure,
cannot
Prabhuji.
see you.
Yeah, that's what I'm. My laptop's video is not coming, so I'm logging on two devices.
That's
You can
okay,
see.
Prabhuji. That's okay. Oh yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji.
we can see you.
Yeah. So I have logged in on two devices, one for audio and one for video.
You can start. Over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So nice to be with all of you this morning again. I think it's been a couple of months that I was here. So I was told to speak from the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, text number, chapter number 12 and text number 12. Yeah, just opening it at my end as well. So this particular chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes, these episodes describe various events which occurred during the Samudra Manthan, or the grand churning of the milk ocean. And this specific chapter is describing an incident which occurred during that particular episode of the beautiful revelation of one of the forms of the Lord as Mohini Avatar. Many of us, we already know the story and the beautiful aspects of it. The word moha in Sanskrit specifically refers to, roughly it is translated in English as illusion. So that which bewilders one's mind and one's intelligence. Illusion is not something which just attracts you. Let's say when we see something very attractive and we feel that, oh, I want this particular object and it will look nice in my home, on my table, on my chair, and so on. So that is not called moha. Moha means something which you cannot resist, when you cannot get, which you cannot let go of. So mind and intelligence, when it gets completely captivated, that is called moha. So this chapter is referring to someone who owns or presides over that particular siddhanta, that particular principle, and who embodies that in a feminine form, and therefore that is called Mohini. So this chapter is the Mohini Murti incarnation, bewilders Lord Shiva. Text 12 from the chapter 12 of the 8th canto. Avatara maya drishta रममाणस्य ते गुणैः सोऽहं तद्द्रष्टुमिच्छामि यत्ते योषेद्वपुर्धृतम्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My Lord, I have seen all kinds of incarnations you have exhibited by your transcendental qualities, and now that you have appeared as a beautiful young woman, I wish to see that form of your Lordship. Purport. When Lord Shiva approached Lord Vishnu inquired about the purpose for Lord Shiva's coming there. Now Lord Shiva discloses his desire. He wanted to see the recent incarnation of Mohini Murti, which Lord Vishnu had assumed to distribute the nectar generated from the churning of the milk ocean. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Hare Krishna. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the Puranas amongst 18 different Puranas. All the different Puranas which are written by the same person, all the Upanishads or the Vedas written by the same person, and also characterized by him itself, describe the very nature of the various describe the very nature of the scriptures themselves. Every single Purana has a purpose, has an audience, has a particular set of people which it is targeting. Considering the grand creation and the various varieties of people which Krishna himself has brought about in this world, and to facilitate their connection with the absolute truth to their own Janma, all these different literatures are written. So in the Padma Puran itself, in the Uttarakhand, there is a brief about the different classification of Puran. Brahmandam Brahma Vaivartam Markandeyam Tathaivacha Bhavishyam Vamanam Brahmam Rajasani Nibhutata. That the Rajas Purana, Brahmand Puran, Brahma Vaivarta, Markandeya, Bhavishya, Vaman and Brahma Puran. The Tamas Puranas are Matsya, Kurma, Linga, Shiva, Skanda and Agni Purans. These are considered to be the Puranas which facilitate Tamas. And Sattva Puranas are Vishnu Puran, Narad Puran, Bhagavad Puran which we read, the Garud Puran, Varaha Puran. These are considered to be the Puranas in the mode of goodness. Now when we hear this, that the Puranas in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, it is not that Puran by nature it is tamasic or Puran by nature is rajasic or something like that. It simply means that persons who are tamasic in nature, they will be more inclined to approach the truth or accept supremacy of someone through the writings which are written in the Tamas Puran. Those who are rajasic by nature, they'll be more inclined and motivated to approach the truth which is written in the form of the Puranas in the rajasic Puran. And when we say Sattva Puran, means those who are relatively sattvic in nature, they'll be more inclined to follow the injunctions which are told in the manner of the Sattva Puran. One should not think that this Puran is better or lesser than others. For a person who is transcendental or a person who is quite advanced, or he understands the purpose of everything in this world, that it is all about savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radoksha. Ultimately, it is about uh, engaging everything to the loving devotional service of Krishna, or invoking the bhakti towards Krishna. So for such a person, even if he reads any literature, even if it is out of the Vedic domain, he can see the true purports. So that's first I wanted to mention here. So the supremacy of Lord Shiva is very vividly described in the Shiva Puran. So in the Shiva Puran, most of the things are written in such a manner that that Lord Shiva is essentially the source of the creation, his source of the maintenance, his source of annihilation, just exactly like it is written about Vishnu in these Purans, like Bhagavat Puran, Padma Puran, and so on. And similarly, if you read Devi Bhagavat also speaks a similar thing. Now, these are all written, even Devi Bhagavat is spoken by Shukdev Goswami. And the Srimad Bhagavat also spoken by Shukdev Goswami. So there also similar things are written, that Devi is the source of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation. But through the Padma Puran, we get a reference of how these apparently contradictory things, they coexist. So that's one thing. So here, even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the personality of Shiva is very described in a very different way. At one place, Lord Shiva is described as Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, that one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. But when you read the pastimes of Daksha Prajapati and that particular episode where Lord Shiva gets so upset that his wife Sati has got humiliated and she died herself. So he got so upset that he decided to destroy the world, the whole universe. So it is explained there that Brahma, along with all the devatas, he comes there, and then the Srimad Bhagavatam also gives those verses in that particular episode. You can go through it. That, my dear Lord Shiva, it is because of you the universe is sustained. You are also the maintainer, and he says you are the Paramatma who lives in the hearts of every living entity. So all these prayers are coming all about Lord Shiva in the Srimad Bhagavatam as well. So it can appear pretty much confusing. So specifically now coming to this particular episode, understanding well that the personality of Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna are simultaneously, it is kind of achintya only, kind of they are similar and they are different also. So he, in this whole mystical thing episode which has happened, he's desiring that, my dear Lord, since I have seen so many different wonderful forms of yours, I would also like to witness this particular form which I have heard that you showed to the demons. And I want to see that how would you look, how mystifying would you look as a female. Now see, Lord Shiva is a personality who cannot be attracted by anyone, any form. Attracted in the material sense. It is not that those who are in the spiritual world, they do not have attractions. They have attractions, but they have attractions to something which is transcendental, something which is eternal, which is at the level of the Atma, Paramatma, and so on. And the very fact, the name Shiva, the word Shiva means auspiciousness. So Lord Shiva is one who is the personification of auspiciousness. So he has no mundane attractions at all whatsoever. That is why, in fact, Lord Shiva is the origin of all forms of meditation. He is the origin of all forms of yoga. He is the origin of Ayurvedic science. He is the origin of Sanskrit language. So all the elements which we think in this world, he is the origin of everything, and therefore actually he is the origin of also the living entities, considered to be the head of all the, our first authority is Lord Shiva as living entities in this world, right? Therefore it is called Mahadev. So devatas, there are various different kinds of devatas who are taking care of different elements of this world, but then, and there is Brahma who is presiding over all those devatas, but beyond him there is Mahadev. So he is our first point of he's the, you can say, from a topmost, he's the first in this material world from that sense. So when we see these pastimes, one has to take this perspective into picture, that someone who is very, very transcendental is now asking this particular kind of thing. So the Tattva of Shiva is slightly spoken of in different ways. It is not that Krishna is so powerful that he can simply bewilder Lord Shiva. Why? Because Krishna and Shiva are more or less the same person. It is only in the potency of the revelation of the pastimes that Krishna reveals certain things, Lord Shiva reveals certain things. So therefore, Brahmaji also describes this Siddhanta in this verse of the Brahma Samhita, Kshiram yatha dadi vikara vishesha yogat. We chant in Brahma Samhita, Sanjayate nahi tatah pritagasti hetu yash shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So what it says, Kshiram yatha dadhi vikara vishesha yogat, means just like milk transforms into kshira, dadhi or yogurt by a vishesha vikar. So by some kind of vikar means it's a vikar. Vikar, this word, see, you have heard this about akar. Akar means a wonderful form, and vikar means the form which appears to be distorted. So it is an akar, but whenever the word vikar comes, it is slightly taken into a negative connotation. Okay, so vikar. So इसमें ये विकार हो गया. So this vikar has happened. So a transformation has happened which appears to be on the negative scale. But this vikara, because it is no longer kshira, which is supposed to be very milk in its own property, it has very different properties than dadhi, which is also a bit sour and like that. But this vikar is vishesha. It is extremely special. What is about that? That this is only, there is actually no, just as milk and yogurt are not different constitutionally at the molecular level or the structural level, but the difference is that they have different purposes in which they do. Although the elemental level, it is all the same. So similarly, there is no difference between Shiva and Krishna at the elemental level. There is only difference at the level of doing the pastimes. And what is that? Shambhu is a transformation for the uh, work of destruction. So this is given. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he writes very clearly about Lord Shiva, who is the nature of Shambhu, who is the presiding deity of Mahesha Dhama. He says Shambhu or Lord Shiva is not a second godhead other than Krishna. This is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purport to this verse to the Brahma Samhita. Shambhu is not a second godhead other than Shri Krishna, and that those who entertain such discriminating sentiment, they will connect a great offense against the Supreme Lord. Actually, let me read that purport. It's very interesting. Yeah. Shambhu is not a second godhead other than Krishna. The supremacy of Shambhu is subservient to that of Govinda. Hence, they are not really different from each other. The non-distinction is established by the fact that just as milk treated with acid turns into curd, so Godhead becomes subservient when He Himself attains a distinct personality by the addition of a particular element of adulteration. This personality has no independent initiative. So I'll just explain this point because it may appear very complicated. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's writings were very rich. So what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is specifically saying, it is Krishna himself who is taking a position of subservient for a specific cause. So when we say that he himself has taken subservient, so you cannot say that, oh yeah, so that means he's lesser. No, he's the same person. He's just like the president of a particular country he may be the president and everybody says Mr. President, Mr. President, but when he comes home, then there is a home minister who may demand or say something, and then he has to listen. So he takes a subservient position there, but that's out of choice, out of love, out of a purpose that those dynamics may not work at home, and the child may not exactly deal with him as Mr. President. The children may have some other approach towards him. So similarly, it is the same personality who takes a subservient form, like a role in a movie or somewhere. Someone is a hero, and in another movie it is shown that he's a helpless person begging on the streets, like that. So, but essentially they are not different. So, anyways, this personality has no independent initiative. Means they are non-different. So further, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati is writing, in the work of mundane creation as the material cause, in the work of preservation by the destruction of sundry asuras, and in the work of destruction to conduct the whole operation, Govinda manifests himself as the Guna avatar in the form of Shambhu, who is a separated portion of Govinda, imbued with his principle of subjective plenary portion. The purport of the Bhagavad shlokas, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, etc., is that Shambhu, in the pursuance of the will of Govinda, works in union with his consort Durga Devi by his own time energy. He teaches pious duties as stepping stones to the attainment of spiritual service in the various Tantra Shastras, etc., suitable for jivas in the different grades of conditional existence. He is the Lord of Jiva, but yet partakes the nature of a separated portion of Govinda. So this is about Lord Shiva in a brief way. We do chant these verses. So sometimes there is a tendency by simpler minds to just in a very linear way put things in order. Who is number one, who is number two, who is number three, who is number four. It is not exactly like that. And that is why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that one should not see him separate. So if you cannot understand this complexity, then just think about milk and curd. Both of them are the same thing, having a very different purpose, and therefore the whole exhibition of that is quite different. I'll read some of the verses which come in the 8th canto when the Devatas approach Shiva to save him from the halahal poison. When in the Samudra Manthan, one of the things which came earlier was the poison. Earlier means the first thing which came was the poison. So when the Devatas approach, so very interesting. They are referring, and this is coming in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, this particular canto, Chapter 7. So text 20, I'll read just a couple of translations. Text number 22. O Lord, you are the cause of bondage and liberation of the entire universe because you are its ruler. So what they are referring, you are Sarva Jagata Ishvara Bandha Mokshayoho. You are also the cause of bondage and you are also cause of the liberation. Just like we say Mukunda means one who gives liberation. Mukunda is referring to Krishna here. But those attributes are also associated with Shiva. So furthermore it says, those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness surrender unto you, and therefore you are the cause of mitigating their distress, and you are also the cause of their liberation. We therefore worship your Lordship. So in the purport, very interesting, Prabhupada is writing, he says, when Lord Vishnu is untouched by external energy, he is Lord Vishnu. But when Lord Vishnu is in touch with, and when Lord Vishnu is in touch with the external energy, he appears as Lord Shiva. So Vishnu in his untouched form is called as Vishnu. Vishnu touched by the material energy is called as Shiva. Text 23. O Lord, you are the supreme effulgent. You are self-effulgent and supreme. You create the material world by your personal energy, and you assume the names Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara when you act in creation, maintenance and annihilation. So these are prayers unto Shiva. You are the cause of all causes, the self-effulgent, inconceivable, impersonal Brahman, which is originally Parabrahman. You manifest various potencies in this cosmic manifestation. O Lord, you are the original source of Vedic literature. You are original cause of the material creation, the life force, the senses, the 5 elements, the 3 modes and the Mahatattva. You are eternal time, determination, and the two religious systems called Trutha, Satya, and Truthfulness, Rita. You are the shelter of the syllable Om, which consists of 3 letters, A, U, Ma. So, Krishna says in the Gita, Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu, that I am the Omkar in the Vedic literature. The same thing they are saying, that you are the shelter of the syllable Om. So, how can someone be a shelter of Krishna? If Krishna says, I am the Omkar, and the Bhagavad verse is saying that you are the shelter of Om, so how that can be possible? It can be possible only in one condition, that Krishna himself is Lord Shiva, who manifests in a very different way. So of course for a mundane or an ordinary mind, it becomes very heavy on the head to conceive of these things. So we don't need to fit this whole perspective in this brain. Consider some things are achintya. Bhagavatam as a Puran is speaking about a rasa vichar, about the bhakti perspective, about the loving reciprocation of a living entity which one can have with Krishna. So, of course, we are devotees of Radha Krishna, and we should always chant their holy names, knowing that in the consideration of the rasa vichar, the rasa perspective, that the divine couple are the supreme, topmost manifestation of the Lord's personal potencies, the Shakti, and so on. But when we take the concepts of Tattva Vichar. So there is Rasa Vichar and Tattva Vichar. From a Rasa Vichar perspective, Sita and Ram carry a different potency and different rasa, a different mood. There is Krishna, a Parthasarthi Krishna, he carries a different mood and potency. There is Sham Sundar, he carries a different potency and mood. There is Gopal, Govinda, Yashodanandan, Devakinandan, all these carry a different mood and potency. So, similarly, in that way, we should also understand that Shiva is merely another form of Sri Krishna who carries a different form and potency. So, one should not, but that potency is more from an external and a very different kind of a thing. So, we should not never disrespect Shiva that, oh, it was this Shiva, or although he is Mahadev and so on, Krishna bewildered him by this form of Mohini Murti. So when you read this chapter further, it describes how Krishna transformed himself to an extremely attractive form, which was just moving in the forests, and it's just like a very romantic part of a film which can be shown. It is in that manner that this pastime is described. Very, very romantic and sensual, and then Lord Shiva gets attracted. But essentially, this attraction is just a divine play for the sake of this material creation. It is just to show that no matter how advanced you are, you should not challenge the supreme absolute truth in any aspect. So that can be bewildered. Not to scare, but to just show the potency that someone, the same Krishna whose form of an external manifestation for the sake of this material world, Shambhu Tattva, who is constantly meditating, who is considered to be the origin of all yoga. So this is very important here. The whole purpose of yoga is to control one's mind and senses. The whole idea of yoga is that one's consciousness has to be fixed into the supreme absolute truth. That is the whole purpose of yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. The last part of samadhi is what? Samadhi means complete single pointed meditation to one particular truth. That is the whole purpose. The origin of yoga is Lord Shiva. Now that person who has mastered the form of what we call as samadhi, or also is the perfection of samadhi, he getting bewildered by a form of a woman, what is called as Mohini Murti, is something which is inconceivable. How can there be some form which can attract him? Means when you say someone who is transcendental or beyond the material nature, means he is beyond the influence of Pancha Mahabhuta. Means our body, it is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. There is skin, there is layers of muscles, there is bile, mucus, blood, pus, and so many other things. Let's say the most beautiful person, just rip off the skin of their face. The most beautiful person, just 1 mm is a very big level, but just even lesser than that, the whole person will become like horrific person. So those who are great sadhakas, they see beyond that. They see the soul. They see that this is actually a dead body which is attracting me. It is only the presence of the spirit soul. They can see and understand that very clearly. So for Lord Shiva to get attracted something that way, it is just not possible. So it's a divine pastime. So it's better not to indulge in trying to see the difference in a very derogatory manner. Rather, let us appreciate the rasa vichar, that we are worshippers of Radha and Krishna, and from a mood of Vrindavan, Bhakti Bhav, and so on. So in that perspective, we put Indra, Varun, Vayu, Brahmaji, all the living entities in that perspective. Those who how do they place themselves in Brajalila, in the mood of Braja, and so on. We should just understand very clearly that Shiva is another expansion of Sri Krishna himself. He is not simply a devata or a demigod of this material world who is only involved in the mode of ignorance. That is not true. So that's one thing which was very important. I thought I'll discuss in this particular episode. The most mystifying and baffling form. The idea basically of this pastime of Mohini incarnation is Lord Shiva wants to glorify the aspect of the Supreme Absolute Truth, that even if you want to be bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord, then also fall in love with that same person, Sri Krishna. Why? Because even when we are attracted to the beauty or attractive forms of this material world, they are not satisfying enough to keep our minds and hearts captivated all the time. So I like a person for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I feel he or she is the most attractive and I cannot live without him. But at the same time, after a year or two, I don't find that same attraction anymore. That is so interesting how it works. So might as well get attracted to something that which never deteriorates. If you want to fall in illusion, then why to fall in illusion with these illusory people of this world who have no auspiciousness there in them, who don't intend, whose birth and creation has nothing to do with you. They are all born for their own, to enjoy their own fruits of their karma. All our relations in this world, whether it is our own children, family members, you may have fallen in love with someone and married 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It all vanishes. Somehow it all vanishes. So if our mind and senses have a tendency to be fascinated, if it is our urge, it is our desire, it is our need to be fascinated, to be captivated, so might as well then be captivated by the forms of the Lord. So Shiva is highlighting that principle. I will not be captivated by anything that is ordinary and mundane. I resign to that. And when it comes to the captivity from Krishna, he is not keeping this illusion that, okay, I have this identity, the world knows of me, that I can never be captivated by anything. No. Rather, a complete form of the detachment is this: I hold no ego whatsoever, and I'm willing to be captivated only by the Supreme Absolute Truth. So, without any shame, without any remorse, he himself approaches Vishnu and prays that I want to see that form of yours which destroyed the intelligence of the devatas and also of the demons in the acquisition of the Amrit Kalash. That way. So I'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this very, very insightful class. Yes, Prabhu. As you explained, all these things are to understand the Tattva and also the Leela. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I request devotees if you have any questions or comments, they can ask now. So there are some comments, Mataji. I would just read. Pritika Mataji is asking how to approach Lord Shiva after being a devotee of Radha and Krishna, but before being a devotee of Krishna.
So that's what we discussed, right? Ki from a Tattva Vichar, we see that Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna are not the same, are not different. They are different in the potency and the purpose of which they engage themselves in the creation, first of all. Prabhupada writes in many purports that eventually a living entity can become Brahma. He can assume the post of Brahma and he can be Brahma also. But he can never be Lord Shiva, because it is not possible that you can be Krishna or Shiva. It is not possible. Because Shiva and Krishna are not different. They are the supreme absolute truth in that way. So that's one thing. Now, from a point of view of Rasa Vichar, that this particular question, which is that after being a devotee of Radha Krishna, how to approach Shiva after being a devotee of Radha Krishna, but before being a devotee of Shiva. I didn't understand the second part, like after being the devotee of Radha Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the second part is before coming to Krishna consciousness, they were devotee of Lord Shiva.
Yeah, okay. So then if you have had devotion or some attraction and affection to Lord Shiva, there is nothing inauspicious about it. There is nothing wrong about it, or one should not think it that way. But from a Rasa Vichar perspective, that it is in the experience of things where a person does things, right? So from Vrindavan perspective, you see that Mahadev takes the position of being the protector of Dham. So it is Krishna himself expanding, right? Like in the Govardhan Lila, Krishna is lifting Govardhan, but Krishna is the Govardhan. Krishna is the manifestation of Sham Kund, Radha Kund in the Govardhan. Krishna is the manifestation of many things there, and he is also holding himself that way. So we should see in that way that he himself expands as Lord Shiva, who takes the position of protector of Dham in different places as Gopishwar Mahadev, Chakaleshwar Mahadev, Nandishwar Mahadev, and so on at different places in all the places of Vrindavan. Then even in the pastimes of Radha Krishna, Lord Shiva himself, he desires that I want to experience the Leela of I want to participate in the Rasa dance. So there is a very nice episode which comes that one day he sees Parvati, who is nicely decorating herself, and then he asks, where are you going? So she says, I am going for the Rasa. So Lord Shiva says, what Ras? So she says, Krishna does this Ras Lila during the Purnima times on special occasions. So I'm going there. I've been invited to participate. So he says, I'm also coming. I also want to see. So then Parvati is saying that no, in this Ras there is only one Purush and everyone else is a Stree. Means there is only one performer that way. Prakriti and Purush from that point of view. So then then Lord Shiva desires to become a Gopi, and he dresses himself as Gopi and he comes in Braj to participate in that. So there's a nice bhajan also, a rendition which has been taken in that particular perspective. So he takes the role of assisting the gopis, protecting the gopis and dham and so on. So one can see that even just like Vaikuntha Nath, Narayan and Vishnu, he leaves Vaikuntha just to relish a more higher, simpler perspective of Vrindavan, where things are very personal in nature. In the same way, Lord Shiva may have whatever position in this world, he is inclined to leave that position just to experience that Brajarasa. This is the glorification of Brajarasa which is described. That Vaikuntanath, he is leaving his position Lakshmi is leaving her position, Mahavishnu is leaving his position, Lord Shiva is leaving his position, and all of them come in Braj to do a different set of pastime. So we should see from that perspective. Devotees should celebrate Shivratri with as much vigor as Janmashtami. Of course, it may not be the same as in the temples in the similar manner, but in your homes, you can always observe Shivratri, do some special puja, do some fastings. We have all our devotees, like in Chopati, we all go to Babulnath temple, which is nearby. It's an ancient temple of Lord Shiva. We all go to take darshan there, stand in line for hours together. So, and with that mood that, okay, that he is also the facilitator of bhakti. So that is the mood in which we approach. Technically, we don't need to see too much of difference. Just see in the mood, in the rasa in which we want to participate, try to bring things in that perspective instead of thinking, oh, Shiva participated in this rasa, that means he's big. No. When Ram wants to win the war, he worships Lord Shiva before he goes to the battlefield of Lanka. And after the war, he worships Lord Shiva. The first thing he does is worships Lord Shiva for getting rid of the apparent karmic consequences of the battlefield. After the Mahabharata war, Pandavas approach Krishna and they ask him that what should we do next now that the war has been over. So what does Lord Krishna say? They say now so many innocent people also have been wronged in the battlefield, and some of them who were some innocent people who were dependent on these soldiers, they also have been now bereft of their husbands and fathers and so on. So there is a lot of karma which will come to you, all of you guys. So go to Kashi Vishwanath and worship him. It is only Lord Shiva who can take care of these things for your further journey. So the Pandavas, Bhim, everyone, they go to Kashi and they to pray to Lord Shiva. So that's a particular episode which comes. So in that mood, that is the mood in which we approach that way. So I hope it makes a bit sense.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
See,
you
it will
so much.
it will be very difficult to work to be part of multiple rasas. See, you can have 10 different kind of tattva or siddhanta coming into the brain, but you cannot have 10 flavors. Means you cannot be relishing this rasa and that rasa. From a rasa vichar we all belong to, we all will be inclined to follow a particular rasa. So with keeping the rasa perspective in center, put all personalities accordingly. And Shastra itself gives that guidance. So there is no harm that way.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a very beautifully clarifying that concept of rasa vichar, that we have to be very clear and we'll be sticking to the one particular. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhu, there are no questions or comments. There is one Mataji telling what an incredible class. Lot of doubts cleared, Prabhuji. That
See, in Vashishta Muni, he speaks in the in the Kurma Puran that basically for the best thing for the human beings is to worship Shiva and Krishna simultaneously and not think them non-different. So we may not worship on a daily basis on our altars and puja that way, but the mood of worship is simultaneous. It is a complete worship when we do worship of Krishna like that.
seeing him as a Param Vaishnava, so we can remember the greatest Vaishnava every day. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments, you can ask now. Okay. Maybe if there are no questions or comments, I will thank Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas. Thank you. With your permission, we can thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
यो नमो नमः।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
की
श्रील
जय।
प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय
श्री जगन्नाथ प्रिय प्रभु जी की जय।
जय।
Thank you,
for your
Prabhuji.
valuable time and
Wonderful.